Good morning, everyone. This is Thor Peterson with Crow. Today I'm sharing a quick video on how you might use sets in Tableau to see the top and bottom transactions for a specific period. Let's go ahead and get started. So as you can see, I've got Tableau Desktop open on my PC. I'm going to go ahead and connect to a data source here on Tableau Server. I've connected to my Tableau server, and I'll choose transaction for this exercise. Once I'm connected to transaction, I'll go ahead and click on sheet 1. So as I mentioned, our main objective here is to sort our transaction codes by transaction amount for a specific period, and then select from there the top number of transaction codes or the bottom number of transaction codes. So let's go ahead and get started there. So as I mentioned, first I want to just look at a specific period. So I'll find my post date, drag that to filters, select month year, and click next. So I'm going to go ahead and select all here, click OK, and then find that filter pill and show the filter on the menu. So now I'm all set. I can go ahead and select the period that I'm interested in seeing. Now that I've got that period selected, I'll go ahead and add my transaction code to rows and add my transaction amount to columns. So what I'm left with here is a horizontal bar chart, and you can see the data is going in both directions. So we've got positive and negative transaction amounts. So let's go ahead and sort our transaction code so that we've got the negative accounts at the top and the positive at the bottom. So I'll find this transaction code pill, right click that pill, click on sort on the menu. I want to sort by a field, and ascending is good. By transaction amount, we're good to go. So let's also show our text labels, right? So now I can see the labels for each of those. Secondly, what I'd like to do is add a filter on transaction type. So I can look at payments or contractuals or admin. I can choose whatever I want. So let's right click on this dimension transaction type, click show filter, and so now I can see my transaction code. So let's just look at our payments. Okay, so now we can see our payments, and it occurs to me that we've actually got the signs flipped here. So let's go ahead and sort this in descending order. These positive amounts represent our payments, and these negative amounts likely represent our reversals. So let's go ahead and change this transaction code sort here by right-clicking on this transaction code pill. We'll click sort on the menu and change that to descending. So very easy. Click close. Okay, so this looks better to me. Okay, so now looking at payments, or I could look at contractuals or bad debt. I can kind of move through this however I want and choose different options there. So back to payments. Okay, so let's see here. So the next thing I'd like to do is change the color here so that when it's negative, it's red, and when it's positive, it's blue. So the next thing I'll do here is find my transaction amount on the measures card, and we'll drag that to color, and it looks like I've got a dark blue transitioning into an orange here. So we can modify that color scheme here to say on the marks card, we're going to say anything that's positive is blue and anything that's negative is orange. So I'll click on the color on the marks card, click edit colors, and we'll choose stepped color and drop that down to 2. and click apply. So now clicking OK, scrolling through here, we see blue and orange. All right, perfect. So, so let's see here. So our next step here is to create our sets. So we can see down here in the bottom, we've got 473 transactions that are payments. I want to see the top 10 and the bottom 10 transaction codes. So let's find on the dimensions card a transaction code dimension. I'll right click there. On the menu, choose create and find set on the submenu. So now it's basically essentially the same as a filter. We're going to choose use all here. We're going to choose the top option by field. It defaults to 10. Clicking the drop down, we can see that we can create a new parameter here. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll call this n. This is how it will. This is how we'll select the number of transaction code values that we want to see. So we'll be able to toggle between 5 or 10 or 20 or 100, depending on whatever our selection is here. So data type's integer, current value's 10. If you want to default that to 5, you can, or even 25. So for now, we'll leave it at 10. We'll allow all values and click OK. So now we've got the top n by transaction amount sum. And that's exactly what we want to see here. So on the name, we'll go ahead and call this top n transaction code and click OK. So we also want to see a bottom 10. So we'll right click on this set, duplicate, and right click to edit the set. Let's call this bottom n transaction code. Remove and copy, and on the field we'll drop this down to bottom. Click OK. So now we've got two sets here. We could use either or on this filter. If we wanted to use both of them to show the bottom and the top, we'd want to combine those two sets, and we do that by selecting one of these. In this example, I'll select the top n, right click, create combined set. We'll go ahead and name this combined top and bottom n transaction code. So here it asks us how we want to combine. So we've got top n selected here, and we'll just drop this down, click bottom n. We want to include all members in both of the sets and click OK. So now we've got this filtered for just the month of January, just the payments, and if we want to show just the top n and the bottom n, we can drag this set that we just created, the combined top and bottom, up to filters and drop it there. So if you remember correctly, we had selected, or the default was set to 10. Let's verify that by showing this parameter. So right click on the parameter, choose show parameter control, and so now I can see that I've got 10 selected here, but shouldn't I see the top 10 and bottom 10, or 20 records here? It looks like I have 5 marks, so something's not right here, and the problem is with our filters. So what's happening is Tableau is adding this set, or using this set as a filter first. So it's selecting basically the top and bottom 10 from the entire data source, and then it's applying these other two filters. So what I want to do is I want to have these two filters be applied first, and then this filter applied last. And the way that I do that is by adding these filters to context. So I'll right click on this first filter for the year, or for the month, year, post date, right click, add to context on the menu. I'll do the same thing for transaction type. Right click, add to context, and now you can see here at the bottom I've got 20 marks showing. So essentially what's happening here is my two filters for transaction type and for post date are being applied first, and then from those results we're searching for the top 10 and bottom 10 transaction codes by transaction amount. So now coming back over here to my parameter, I can change this over to, say, top 15 or top 5, whatever makes the most sense for my analysis. So now I can actually change these other transaction type filter or even the post date filter. So let's say I wanted to look at bad debt instead of payment, or admin and contractual, or just contractual. I can now get a sense for how those are ranking and comparing to each other. I could also look at different dates. So for example, if I wanted to look at a year-to-date beginning in July, I could do so by clicking on my filters here to see where things stand since the beginning of the year. So that pretty much concludes this session on sets. There are lots more videos available on YouTube and Tableau, Tableau's own website. So if you're curious to see how other people use sets, please take a look. And also on the Hive, add some comments to this thread, letting me know some ideas that you came up with on how to better utilize the top and bottom set in your own analysis. Thanks very much and have a great day.